We have 16 people here. Before today we'll be touching on user experience principle, but before that, I want 2 people to tell me in like 60 seconds, sorry. They should tell me what they learned from last week. So Emmanuel, can they raise their hand from their end? If you can, maybe you raise your hand and then the host
Okay,
will unmute you and then
maybe they can write it on the chat. So guys, please drop it on the chat. Yeah, because
that'll take a while for them to type.
okay, that's true. Maybe just chat. Mr. Maka?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I don't know. Could you enable them to speak? Because like just 2 persons when they.
Yeah. So if you want to talk, I just want 2 people to tell me recall what they learned last week. If you want to talk, you just put it in the chat and then you're unmuted and then you just speak.
So guys, you can raise your hand.
If you don't know this last week, you didn't pay attention. Okay, I think someone's hand is up.
Okay. Can we hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. What I learned in the last class was that it's not only about the design, it's not just really about the interface, but it's more about the user, like knowing the user perception and knowing about their emotion, even before going for that design. And before trying to do the aesthetic and all, we should do a proper research of the user and how to ensure that they have best experience in the application or in the website. Like we were giving an example of a particular bank app whereby it said that you did not enjoy the application at all and it discouraged you from even banking with them. So I learned that the design should be more about the user and not about ourselves. So
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Is there any other person before I start? All right, let me get into it. Okay, there's someone up. Last person, then I can start teaching. Manuela, if you guys can unmute him. Okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening.
User experience has to do with like the users and how they relate to your product, the designs you make or the interface you make. And if you have to make designs and people cannot work on the design or they cannot they don't have good experience, then that's like a bad user experience. So when people come to your website, they should be able to engage with what you've done and what you've put up on the design.
Okay, thank you very much. That's impressive. That's correct. So yeah, like I mentioned today, we'll be touching on user experience principle. Now, one thing you need to know is that we will not be able to cover every single thing to the last detail. So after let's say after last week, I will learn to user experience. You can just go online, but you go to Google and you type user experience design. I'm going to get so many results, right? That you can pick from. So don't limit yourself to what we are teaching here, but try and expand your knowledge by doing your necessary research after each class. Because me, for example, I learned from online. I used YouTube and Google and everything. So after each class, right now, for example, if you Google user experience principles, you should see so many articles online about it you can learn from. Okay, so user experience principle. It's basically guidelines that you kind of follow or guide you through your design process. Right? Remember, we looked at design process last week. I'll be touching on about 8 of them. So the key principles of user experience design are usability, hierarchy, consistency, repetition, accessibility, context, confirmation, and user control. Now, if you were here last week, we touched on what's it called? usability, right? Now, usability is a quality attribute that assesses how easy user interfaces are to use. The word usability also refers to methods for improving ease of use during the design process. Kindly confirm if you can hear me clearly. I have code, so I have to shout a little. So, Emmanuel, if you guys can confirm you can hear me. Anyone in the chat?
Yes.
So,
Yeah, we can. We can hear you.
okay, thank you very much. The second definition we looked at was
I can hear you clearly.
okay, okay. The second definition we looked at was usability can be described as the capacity of a system to provide a condition for its users to perform the task safely, effectively, and efficiently while enjoying the experience. Now, usability can be measured, right? Last week we looked at some components of usability. Someone should I'll put one in the chat. Someone should put some in the chat. I want the class to be interactive. So if I put mine, somebody, let me type it. Anyone in the chat can put in the second one before I proceed. If you don't interact with me, we will not learn today. So we looked at learnability and there were the other 4 components. Anyone in the chat can put it in there. Guys, I should start mentioning names. Effectiveness, what else? Usability. Oh, okay, usability is the main thing. So we are looking at the components. So the sub components that are usability. So there's learnability, there's effectiveness. Who else? Efficiency. Anybody else? Robustness. Okay, I want the exact word, but no problem. Who else? Okay, so the 5 key things we looked at: learnability, efficiency, memorability, errors, and satisfaction. So effectiveness is also correct. It's just a matter of rewording. I changed that this morning. So learnability. Now, when you have an application, right, how easy is it for users to accomplish basic tasks the first time they encounter the design? So last week I touched on this about how you need to make sure that your design is not, you don't reinvent the wheel every time you're designing. Your design is familiar or similar to what is outside there, because users don't want things that are totally different or new to them. Then the second thing is about efficiency. At this point, we are looking at speed, right? So you can have an application which is not very visually appealing, but then their speed is on point. So when it comes to response time, when you click a button, how fast is it for this application to give you feedback, right? This also factors in when it comes to usability. I'll give you an example. There was this, what someone was showing it to me. There's this travel app, air ticket, what's it called? A ticketing app or something like that where you book for flights. Yes, good. So the problem with the application was that the efficiency or the speed of the application was very bad, because you can go through the process, click a button to book or to buy your ticket, and then for like the next 2 minutes, there's no response, right? I mean, when I click a button, I want to see a new screen, I want to see a success message or a pop-up or something. But this application was not doing any of that. Now, what can this cause? It can cause so many problems. It can lead to people buying multiple tickets. It can lead to people just deleting the app or getting frustrated, wasting money and all that, right? So at every point in time, there needs to be that speed. If the user failed if there was an error, at least there should be a feedback, right? If there was a success, there should be a feedback. So that has to do with speed. Once users have learned the design, how fast can a user get the job done? So when they familiarize themselves with the product, how fast is it for them to accomplish certain tasks on the application, like maybe making a post on LinkedIn or sending a message or resharing a post? All this thing comes in place. Now, I mentioned speed. As a designer, I mean, you can't do anything about the speed, right? When you do your design, you can't determine how fast it should be, which means this has to do with the engineering part of things. So you need to make sure that you optimize your design in a way that is going to be very fast. An example is when you have a website, right? The kind of images you use on the website can either make it fast or slow. So you need to make sure that you are using images that are of high quality, but then the sizes are not too huge. So it can be of high quality and can be 1 megabyte. It can be of high quality and can be in kilobytes. You need to make sure of that. You don't want to put images there that are 10 kilobytes and all that, because it's going to make the website slow. Assuming you open the landing page, and then it's taking 2 minutes for an image to load. You see how normally they load halfway, you get frustrated. The third point we looked at was memorability. When users return to the design after a period of not using it, how easily can they reestablish proficiency? If I delete Instagram today and I come back 2 months later, I can still remember how to use Instagram because they've been able to capture that component of a usable product. So you need to put that in place. And then we looked at error. Errors are bound to happen. You can't stop them from happening, especially when you have a very huge pool of users. Say you have 1 million users using the application. You can't stop error from happening, but how many errors do users make and how severe are these errors? So giving the flight app as an example, the button was causing issues, right? How severe is that error? That error is very severe in the sense that, like I mentioned, someone can buy a ticket twice because they think, oh, I pressed the first time, it didn't happen. Then they start the whole process again, they can't do it. And maybe later on they realize that they were deducted twice. That's a serious problem, right? And how easily can users understand and rebound from these errors? I talked about the password fields and text error fields and all that, input fields. When a user types in maybe something wrong, when you give them an error message, you give them, maybe, for example, when we go to Instagram and type in a wrong password, Instagram will tell us, probably your email or your password is wrong, so check them. You've given the user some sense of direction to how to solve that issue. Then satisfaction. Satisfaction has to do with how pleasant it is to use the design. Now, the next thing is hierarchy. I'm sure most of you have heard this before. You come from a graphic design background. You've heard of hierarchy before. Even if you're a developer, you should have heard hierarchy before. Let me correct something here. So, okay. Now, hierarchy is the way we create importance in a design. There are two types of hierarchy. Now, before we look at it too, when we have a design or when you look around, there's, even if you look at billboards or flyers with it, and there's some kind of importance in how the designs look. For example, the main copy of that message will be written in bold letters, right? Or if it's an image that they want to use to capture attention, you realize that it's very, very huge. And the ones that are not of so much importance will be very, very little. This is what we call hierarchy. Now, the first example is visual hierarchy, which is a way that designers help users navigate more easily within a section, a page. We can create hierarchy by using color, size, and position. So like I mentioned, normally you jump on a website, you see a very big text over there, or you see a text there with a blue color as different from the other one. This was how they wanted to capture the user's attention, right? And it helps you navigate more easily because when you jump, I don't know if you've seen that thing where there was this text where they were like, you read this first, you read this second, I should have gotten that image. You read this text. That is hierarchy. They just use sizes of typography, positioning, and then colors to capture the user's attention at every single time. So there's visual hierarchy. Then there's information architecture. Now, this is how content is organized across the app or sites. It focuses on organizing, structuring, and labeling content in an effective and sustainable way. The goal is to help users find information and complex tags very easily. And complete tags, sorry. The top level of hierarchy is usually a primary navigation menu that includes the main section. Now, let me explain this in simple English. Information architecture is basically how your website or application is structured from top to down. So when we go on a website, the website has been structured in a way that important things are meeting you first. So for example, when we take Figma, I'll use Figma as an example because I have it here. Figma, when we jump, the first thing we are seeing is their landing page. Their landing page is basically telling us about what the website. So let's go to Figma. Okay, let me open. No, I don't want to open it. I'll show you a screenshot here. Their main landing page is telling you about what the software is about, what Figma is about. There's another page that is giving you the option to download Figma. There's another page on their same website that's giving you the option to learn about their tools. So they've done their information architecture in a way that you meet this first, you meet this second, you meet this third, and it's a way to structure let's say an app or a site, right? So like in our definition, the goal is to help users find information and complete tasks. Now let's look at an example of visual hierarchy. This is from Figma, right? Nothing great is made alone. You realize how big that text is. And to capture attention, they circled the text made with the pencil tool. This is an example of visual hierarchy using typography, right? When I get on this website, the first thing I'm going to read is this text here. Before the navigation, though, the navigations are also capturing attention. And you realize this call to action is getting attention because they place it on a rectangle and they give it a different color. All this is how visual hierarchy is achieved. Now, the second thing is information architecture. Now, this might look weird to you, but this is what we call a sitemap. So basically, what this is showing us is that when I jump on the dashboard has services, contacts, and about us. And then under services, there are different type of services. And about us, there are different type of about us. Now, let's look at this in an actual website. So let's go to Amazon. Sorry, let's go to Amazon. Now, this is Amazon, right? This is how their website has been structured. There's this landing page here where users see it first. So if I'm building my information architecture, what's going to happen is the top here is going to be landing page. Then this landing page has different sections. It has the section for searching, it has the section for signing in, for cards, for that. So basically, we are going to structure our information architecture in a way that once we are done, we can just pick the architecture and then build a website in a way. First things or important things come first. I don't want to go into the details because we'll cover it I'm sure Monday we should cover that. We'll look at UX deliverables and then I'll touch based on those. But information architecture, sitemap is how you basically structure your website. So like I mentioned, don't limit yourself to what we are teaching here. Google information architecture examples. You should see so many online. Let me see this example. Good. So this is an e-commerce website, right? So basically what this is saying is this is the home page. Now the home page has a clothing section. It has a search, accessories, carts, and location, just like the Amazon one I was showing you. Now when you go under clothing, they have find clothing, and then they have different types of clothing. Under search, it helps you browse the whole, and accessories this, and the carts, good. You realize that they're telling that when I go to carts, I go to checkout, then I make payments. That's all what it means. When you go to Amazon and you add a product to carts, when you add a product to cart, the next thing you're going to do is checkout and then you make payments. Location, same thing. So it helps you just structure your way in a very, very good way, or in a very good linear process where important things come first. That's information architecture. Please, the information architecture is the same as user flow. No, please, it's not the same as user flow. User flow has to do with, no, let me not touch that. I'll explain that after the class to remind me. Now, consistency and repetition. Users express, I've mentioned this so many times, users express products to be consistent with similar products they've used in the past. The more familiar your product is, the more easily users will learn it and better their experience will be. This is very, very true. If you do something new, like I mentioned, don't try and reinvent the wheel every single time, because people are used to so many things. Like they are used to so many things. Like they are used to Instagram, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Facebook, and other. So if you're going to develop a social media application, you're going to do something very different from what these people are doing, you're going to go off the chart and you're going to confuse a lot of people. Because when you take all this social media, you realize that there's similarities amongst them. There's nothing that is totally new, right? So don't try to reinvent the wheel. Try to use something that people have already seen before. Now, using consistency and repetition helps create concept and improves understanding and learnability of your design. Now, this is achieved through the use of design systems. Design system is basically, in simple terms, assume you have a company. The company can have a design system where every single component they use for their designs has already been made, right, according to their branding or something of that sort. So when you're doing something,
Okay, Regan,
Yeah, sorry, I muted myself. So it creates concept and improves understanding. Okay, so I was explaining design system. So, oops, typo. I don't like typo, so I'll correct it before I continue. All right. So design system, you're in a company, UI elements in design system, any link. So in your design system, you're going to have UI elements inside. So basically in a design system, you have different button sizes. You will have different text fields. Let me open an example and show you. Let me show you an example of a design system before we continue. So when you go, I think there's Airbnb has a design system. There's Fluent, there's Google design system. What else? IBM, I think so. Yeah. So yes, the UI elements in design system are not the same, but inside your design system, you're going to have different UI elements within them. Let this file open and I'll show you what the design system looks like. So that's consistency and repetition. Now, who can tell me? I want someone to say, look at these two screens carefully and then tell me what you see that both of them are doing the same. This is Twitter and this is Todoist. What similarity do you see over here? It's very, very clear. Someone should put in the chat. What do you see over here? What similarities do you see over here? What similarities do you see over here? The search and add icon. Okay, status bar, floating button, FAB, the tax bar, the add icon. Okay, so yeah, you guys have gotten it correct. So the add or the what we call the floating action button. So this action button here is the same on both applications. If you're a very good Twitter user, you know that when I click this button, I'm going to create a tweet. Unless I'm wrong, I don't use Twitter a lot, but yes, I'm going to create a tweet, which means when I see Todoist and I see that application, that means me clicking on that plus is also going to create something for me. That's the similarity. The search, I wouldn't say is the same because they are both icons at different places, but yes, they are both performing the same action. But the FAB are the same places on both apps and they're performing the same thing because when you use Todoist and you click this plus, you realize that it opens a new screen for you to add the text or the to-do you want to add. On Twitter, when I click that, I'm able to add a tweet. So this similarity is very, very, very important. Okay, I think my file is open. Good. So this is an example of a design system. So there's different types of colors. There's typography. A type scale has been created for us in this typography design system. Layout grade, shadows, spacing, different avatar sizes. Good, the button one. Good. You see how huge this is. So this is like different button sizes and states and everything. So if you're in a company and the company has a design system, they are not going to use anything outside the design system. They are going to be using this, and then it's going to make their design very, very, very consistent. Like throughout, everywhere you see a button is going to be the same in the application. It's not going to be different. So this is what design system means. Okay, now accessibility. In digital product design, accessibility typically means designing products so they are easy for users with disability to use. That's not to say you don't have to make it easy for normal unquote people to use. Accessibility basically means that you have to make sure your product can be used by every single person, no matter what is wrong with them. So whether the person is blind or the person has hearing problems, any single thing. To this end, you should remove obstacles from the design layouts for problem-free navigation. For example, you can use contrasting colors for the text on background. So an example of accessibility is contrast. Normally, when you are designing, the colors are so important because what might look red to me might not look red to someone with some eye disease or sickness or something like that. But the good thing is we are not doctors. We can't know all those. So there are plugins and websites. You can always check your accessibility, which will cover that later. Or you can check your color contrast and how this color will look to this person with this sickness, how it will look to this person with this eye problem, and all that. So that you don't have, maybe let's say this yellow color here might look like, it will look close to white to someone with a particular eye problem. Once that fails, they will not be able to use, or that group of people will not be able to use their product. So what do I have to do? We need to work on the accessibility or the contrast for that color. Now, color contrast. There's a difference in brightness between foreground and background colors. Now, I'm going to show you 4 different sections. The only good one is the gray one, because the good is very, very, very visible, right? But when you look at the left one, who can tell me the text over here? If you can see it, probably you have to strain to see it. But on the purple, there's a text over there. On the green, there's a text. And then on the red, there was another text. Good. But then this is very, very, very bad. I mean, it's very, very bad to read, because depending on your environment, you might probably not see this well. And like I mentioned, there are people with so many different eye problems. And yes, eye problems who might not be able to read this as bad. You'll probably be wondering what is there. So this is something we call, this section has a very bad contrast as compared to the good section. Another thing when it comes to accessibility is responsive design, right? Basically means allow your website content to flow freely across all screens, resolutions, and sizes, and renders it to look great on our device. Now, when we go to Figma.com, I mean, their landing page, and then on the mobile, on the web, tablet, anywhere, it looks very, very great because it has been made responsive and accessible on every single device. And it's very, very important because you don't want to make your design look good on mobile, on web, and then on mobile, it looks very shrinked or so spaced out or too cluttered. No, you need to make sure, because maybe you have someone that will be using your website from their phone, maybe 18 hours a day. Another person will be using it from their website, same 18 hours a day. You don't want to prioritize one over the other. You need to make sure that you're giving them the same level of attention or enjoyment, if I should put it. So you make sure that how it looks on the web is the same way it looks on the mobile. Not necessarily the same way, but everything is there. So if you look at this responsive view for Figma, it's different from how it looks on the web, but then everything can be done here. You can read every single thing you want here. Now, when it comes to responsive design, I'm sure maybe you guys were taught earlier on, but sometimes certain things are going to change. For example, how do I open this Figma on camera? Good. Now I realize that on the Figma landing page, right, there's this navigation links over here, products, enterprise, pricing, blah, blah, blah. But then in the mobile view, all those were hidden and then they were placed in this hamburger menu, right? So when it comes to building responsive design, so many things might probably change. And it's in your place to do that as a designer. Okay. Now the 5th point, before I continue, anyone has any question? Anybody get any question? Anybody get any question? All right, so I'm assuming everybody's on the same page with me. I'll ask questions at the end, and I'll not open the slides for you, so please pay attention. We have 2 points left, 3, 2. Now, context. Context is key when designing. You need to take into account the user's context. Location is commonly understood. Contextual factor. Are you designing for someone on the go or for someone sitting at the desk? Now, normally when we talk of context, people are thinking about just location, whether the person is in Ghana or Accra, the person is in their bedroom or their washroom. I'll answer Chiku's question, whether they are in their bedroom or this or that. It doesn't limit to just location. There are other factors or things to consider, like design, belief, emotional state, time available, etc. Now, why am I saying this? When, let's say someone let me use girlfriend and boyfriend as an example. Maybe someone has a fight with their boyfriend and then they are coming to use your application. Even before coming to use your application, they are already mad, right? So if your application frustrates them a little, they are going to be more pissed, right? So you need to, that was a bad example, but you need to be able to design in the way that regardless of what they are going through, they can still use your application from start to end. Device, we've already spoken about it, responsive design, right? Belief, where they are coming from might factor that the time available. Maybe they are going somewhere, they're in a rush. And that's one thing I enjoy about Bolt and Uber, because even when you're in a rush, you can book your ride very, very fast because they give you the option to save location. So maybe I'm going from my home to my school. I've already saved this on Bolt. I don't have to now come and type in the location, so and so. I just need to hit home, hit the school location, and then that's all. So you need to make sure that you're putting all this in place for users when you're designing. So context is very, very, very key in terms of design. Someone has a question. Where is it? Okay, so does a responsive design require designing different frames? Yes, it requires you designing different frames. So let me see. Okay, I can show you guys an example from something I was working on. Show you an example. Show an example. Let me show you an example. So this is a product I'm working on for one company. Anytime I do the web view of this design, the developer asked I shouldn't do the tablet because he can work on that himself. But anytime I do the web view, what I do is I make sure I do the mobile view because some things are taken out. There's one particular one I'll show you why it's important to do responsive design when it comes to product design. Let's wait for this to load. Forgive my bad internet. There was another question. Let me answer. How do you make a design responsive? Auto layout. Yes and no. Yes, because when you use auto layout throughout your design, shrinking it down to mobile will be quite easy because you don't have to do a lot of work. But using auto layout will not make it. How do I put it? You cannot just have the web view and then shrink it to make it mobile view using auto layout. No, there are some things that will probably go out and be added and all that. Let me show you an example. Where's the screen? Okay, good. So now you see this icons. If you use Google Docs, you realize that when if you are reading someone's documents, right? Let's say you are forced inside that document, your profile pictures or your initials are going to show in this format, right? Now something amazing happened. I was asked to put this on mobile view, and I was wondering how I was going to do this because there was little space. Like, look at this. Like, where if there are 10 people, how am I going to put this here? So I went to Google Docs and then I looked at how they did here. So I basically go to Google Docs. What I do is I just do inspect, and then I look at it in the mobile view, responsive one, and I realized that they don't put the images over there. This is what they put over there. They put this here. So if it's 10 people, this number is going to be 10. If it's 20, it's going to be 20. And what happens is if a user clicks on this, they get, where's that screen? They get this, showing them that this is the total number of views over here. And that was very, very good. That was why, that was a very, very good example of responsive design, because if I left it to the developer would just say, hey, on the web view, you had this here. So if I shrink it to mobile, I'll still have the picture there. No, you're going to cause a very huge problem because they're going to probably, let's say 20 people are reading. It's going to cause a problem. So this is responsive design. So when we look at something like this is a website landing page. This is a website landing page, and this is the responsive one in mobile. It's not too different, but everything has been shrunk down. Text sizes, text images sizes, a little bit of layout. An example of that is, look at these icons here. They are all put together on one line, but then on mobile, they are changed, right? It can't be the same on mobile because if I do it the same on mobile, then it has to be scrollable. We don't want to go with that option. I'm not saying it's wrong. We don't want to go with that option. Another example is, if you look at this section, the image is on the left, the text is on the right, right? But then when you come to mobile, the image is on the top, the text is at the bottom. So responsive design is not necessarily bringing the same thing down to mobile view, but changing the position of a few things. Let me open a different browser and just let's look at Figma's responsive design. Any other question? I like the people asking question. I'm paying attention. I like that. Okay. So this is Figma. Let me open a second one again. I want us to look at it in two views about responsive design. Okay, so let's see. Now you realize that this navigation links, like I mentioned, they'll be placed in this hamburger menu. That's one thing that changed. This thing size changed. Now this image, where is it in the mobile view? Okay, this is it. It has changed. Then the next thing is this. Good. I see this. You see this right over here in mobile view. See how it was made. They couldn't make it the same as this because it's going to be very, very little. 1 second, guys.
Right now, I don't know if you can hear me. That is not showing.
It's not showing. Nobody was saying it. Is it showing now? Is it showing now?
Yes, it is.
I'm sorry. I have to repeat what I said again. I'm coming 1 second. This code is disturbing me. Okay, so I've viewed it in both web and mobile. So I was mentioning this navigation links here, right? In mobile, it has been hidden under the hamburger menu. This is still here, but has been made little. And the key point I wanted to look at was this section. So you realize that here was in the form of a row, but then when it came to this side, they made it into something like a column. Right. So when it comes to mobile and designing responsive, it's not necessarily because if you have to shrink everything down to smaller sizes, you're going to have a very, very horrible design. Like this is on the left, this is on the right, but then over here it is on the top and bottom. So that is responsive. My advice to you is anytime you look at a website, look at it in other views because it gives you the understanding. When I was designing that one I just showed you, I looked at how other websites did this to take inspiration from. From. Now, what's the difference between variance and components? Emanuela, the people are asking me UI questions. Is it advisable to design mobile?
Okay, sorry, I didn't get you.
I said your people are asking me UI questions.
Oh,
Don't worry. Is it advisable to design mobile first before web? Yes. This argument keeps going on, but in fact, let me just tell you the truth. I design web before mobile because I find it simple to shrink from web to mobile, but research says you should design from mobile to web. Okay, difference between variants and components. Should I answer that? Okay, so components is basically you creating reusable elements in your design. Let me share another screen. Whoever asked that question, when we are done, you send me money. This is components, so we can have this as a component, this rectangle as a component. So basically what I've done is I've made this into a component so that it can be reused anywhere else. So when I go into my assets section, what page am I on? Good. This element is here. I can bring it back again. And then anytime I change the element or the properties of the first component, it will affect the instance of the second one. That's basically components, creating a reusable element. Now, variant combines components so that you can switch between each component. Let me explain. So I can create another component like this one, and then I'll make this 100. Then I'll make this a component again. Now I have two components. what variance does it? I can combine both of these components into a variance, and then anytime I'm using a particular component from this variant, I can just switch between the two over here. So you look at the side, you can see that I can just switch between A, B, and C. Now, if there are two options, I'm going fast because it's not part of the topic. If there are two options, you can make it an on and off switch, what Figma calls Boolean. So I can make this on, and I can make this off. So now when I select the instance, you realize that there's this thing. So components helps you create reusable elements to your designs or your design flow, whatever. And variance gives you the opportunity to combine different instances of a component. So for example, we can create a radio button on and off using a variant. We can create a toggle switch on and off using a variant, and so on and so forth. So that you don't have to necessarily do it every single time. All you have to do is switch between them at this section. Okay, I'm done. Context. Let me touch on the next and then I'll answer the other questions. Confirmation, which is point 6. Accidents happen all the time. One common digital example, a person may unintentionally place an order. I don't know if it has happened to you before, but it happens a lot, where you mistakenly add something to cart and then you don't even notice it. Preventing errors is one of our key goals as designers. When users accidentally delete an item or make an unintended payment, their experience falls apart. Requiring confirmation for an important or irreversible action is one of the best ways to prevent these errors from happening. So normally when you want to probably delete something, they'll be like, are you sure you want to delete this? Because they know this is a very, very important action. The one good example I like is GitHub. When you want to delete I think Figma also does the same thing. When I want to delete a repo from GitHub, please, I mentioned I don't like front end, or I don't like coding. Doesn't mean I don't know GitHub. I'm a computer science student. When you're deleting a repo from GitHub, they let you retype the repo name, and it's good because no matter what happens, that can't be a mistake. You can't delete a report mistake because, I mean, you can't mistakenly tap delete and then mistakenly type the name again. I think, let me see if, yes, let me use this as an example. Delete team. I hope you can see this screen though. Figma is saying, this will permanently delete the team, blah, blah, blah. Deleting this item will delete all this. To confirm, please enter the name of the team. Now, me clicking delete might probably be a mistake, but typing project Judy here can never be a mistake, right? Well, I don't know the coincidence that can happen, but that can never be a mistake. So confirmation is so important so that you prevent certain things from happening. Sometimes you just see delete. Are you sure you want to delete? Yes or no? That's also not bad. But I like this one a lot. It adds another layer of safety. So what Telegram, you want to delete something, they'll confirm from you. Email, if you want to perform a bulk action, they do the same thing by asking you, are you really, really sure you want to do this? Now, the 7th point, which is, I think, our last point, then I answer all the questions left. User control. User control focuses on greater flexibility of use and better control of where user is within a design or product, enhancing user experience. For instance, whenever, one second. For instance, whenever a user has clicked more than one level down in hierarchy, remember hierarchy. I hope everybody remembers what hierarchy is. They should have a button that can take them back up. So an example is, I was trying to get an actual screenshot, but I couldn't get. But you see when you, on a website, sometimes you can scroll down to the bottom and then you see this little arrow icon at the right side saying, take me back to the top. That's a very good example of user control because you just help the user go back to the beginning of that landing page without having to scroll again. One second, distraction. So user control. An example is when you are trying to create, let's say an event in Google Calendar. again, maybe it was a mistake I clicked. There should be that option for the user to be able to close that pop-up. And then a popular example of user control is search functionality. So if you go to Google, right, you can do any research you want, use Google by that functionality, that search field. And it's also so important. Every product that you want to, Figma has search, Chrome has search, everywhere there's that search functionality to enable people to be able to perform actions quicker. Thank you. I think I was able to finish early. Thank you. I'll see you on Monday. But before that, my questions. Okay, so let me see where I stopped. I answered the variance. Is it advisable to answer that? For a project that one has to make designs for both mobile and websites, yes, it's important. It's important because like you don't want to give designers that developers that stress. That stress of doing it themselves. Normally, if you don't do mobile, what will happen is you realize that they will just use their developer knowledge and shrink it down to mobile, and it will not be very, very efficient or usable. Like the example I gave you with, where is it? The icons here. A developer will just make the images here, but then I did my research, I realized that, oh no, having like 10 images here is not going to be advisable. So this is how Google Docs does it. Let's implement that. Very good as a designer. But the developer is not going to do that. They will just, but that's why it's advisable sometimes for developers to have a little bit of background in the design and vice versa. So it's important that you do both mobile and website, unless of course that product is not going to be used on mobile, then you just do it web view. How can we put people with color blindness into consideration when choosing colors? So like I mentioned, there are so many plugins and website that enables you to do that. I'm trying to remember one. Which screen is sharing right now? Which screen is sharing right now? Okay. Can you see my Chrome? Okay, yeah. What's this website called? Web in. Any other question, guys? Yeah, this one. Then there's Stack, I think. So who asked that question? So you don't have to do the work yourself, right? They have so many plugins or websites that enable you to just check the accessibilities of colors with foregrounds and all that. Stack, good. Now, Sarah, what is the difference in the orientation of a website design and desktop app? Yes, okay. Websites. What's the difference in orientation of a website design and a desktop app? I don't really get the question, but it's kind of the same. Oh, this screen. 1 second, let me share the screens again. Even when it comes to web design, right? When you're designing a website, there are so many resolutions. Like, let's look at Figma. When I come to, I'm sure you guys are familiar with Figma. When we come to the desktop side, you see that there's the MacBook Pro, which is 1512. There's the MacBook Pro 16, which is 172. There's the desktop. There's the iMac. Normally, you just pick a base and then go with that. So sometimes I use the desktop to design it. Between this and then the MacBook, it's not so much of a difference for the developer to do. So normally they would figure that out. Like it's just few pixels in terms of margins or something like that. But when it comes to mobile to web, that's when you need to do the differences. Because even mobile, when we pick, they're like, look at all these sizes. You can't design for every single one of them. So you try as much as possible to design for the smallest screen possible and then the largest screen possible. That was the advice. So to answer your question, the orientation of the website and the desktop app is, I think, the same. Just pick a base size and then go with that. Now, my question, difference between information architecture, I like showing real examples. So let's open difference between user flow and information architecture. Let's open this file. I have it somewhere here. Good. Any other question, guys? We have just 2 classes more, so ask your questions. Okay, so if you can see my screen, this is an information architecture. What this does is it gives you a structure of the website, like I already mentioned. So for example, over here, you can see that the home page is going to house products, cart, accounts, and then other pages. Now, under products, there are going to be categories, this, and that. But then what user flow does is I'm trying to see the English to use. Let me just Google the definition and then I'll come back. So it's the path taken by users on the website or app to complete a task. So now this is what this user flow here is saying, that when the person gets on the website, right, is the person a new user? Now there are 3 things. This is used to ask a question, this is a pay, and this is an action. Now, the diamond is basically asking, is the person a new user? The person is a new user, yes. Okay, then take the person to the sign up page. No, then take the person to the login page. If the person is on the login page, they are going to perform an action. So that's why we use the circle. They enter their name, their password, their social media. Then the next thing is a diamond, which is asking a question. Does the user exist? Like, is the person within our database? Yes, okay. If the person exists, is their input correct? Yes, okay. If the person exists, is their input wrong? Is their input correct? No, they will take them back to the login. So the user flow just gives you that linear process a person is supposed to follow from A to B to C to perform, to finish a task, right? So you can have one for when a person wants to purchase something. So let's say, let's go to Amazon again. So we can start from landing page. Landing page, the person sign in, yes, blah, 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 like the login flow will look that. Now, if the person wants to purchase something, if they click add, is it me, but I can't see his screen. Can anyone else see my screen? Like someone says, Amaka.
Yes, I can see your screen.
All right, Amaka, please check your end.
Yes,
So
we can
that's
see your screen.
Yes, you can see your screen.
okay. So that's basically user flow. It gives you that flow the person is supposed to follow from top to down. Now, what are they used to create user flows and information architecture? Whimsical. You can use Whimsical if you want to use something different, but I normally use Figma to do everything. So FigJam, I'm sure you guys are familiar with FigJam. Let me show you another example. What's the time? Let me show you an example of user flow. I use FigJam for this. It's quite easy to understand. So that I don't have to get out of Figma. But if you want, you can use Whimsical to do that. Just Whimsical. Yeah. Okay, so this is a user flow I built for one product. So Splash, onboarding screens, sign up, login, then I put in this sticky notes to just say, okay, this login is going to capture details. Forgot password, then we'll take them to the screen. Sign up, where they successfully sign up, they go to their home. On the home, they're going to see settings. The settings is going to contain this. So it just gives you the opportunity to create a bigger view of what your product should look like, so that you don't have to design the screens without anything guiding you. That's basically user flow. Those 2 are very, very important. Information architecture and then user flow. Any other question? Any other question? Since our next class is on Monday, I would send Emanuela the PDFs for both presentations, and then she can share with you guys.
Okay, Rega, thank you so much. So guys, if you don't have any question, if you have any question, just kindly drop it so he would respond to it before he leaves the call. But if there is no question and you understood everything, you can just type in that you understood everything throughout the course of the class.
I even forgot to ask my question, but it's late. If you understood, let us know you understood.
Okay, guys, so please just drop on the chat if you understood. So we can just, okay, right, good. So everybody, they were paying attention. Wow, okay.
Okay.
Ask them your question right now.
What did you say?
Sorry, I didn't get it.
Since they were paying attention, ask them your question.
Yes, very true. Very true. Very true. Let me see. I want someone to give me two. You can put it in the chat. Two of the key principles we looked at. Everybody should put it there. List the key principles we looked at. These experience principles. List them in the chat. Confirmation, context, consistency. Beautiful. What else? Hierarchy. Beautiful. Responsive design and context. Context, hierarchy. Beautiful. Beautiful. Got to paying attention. Accessibility, good. Got it. Now, these are not things you need to do. These are good. These are control. We just watched the class again. Really lost. Was really distracted. Okay, then you have to watch the recording all over again. These are control. Perfect. Now, you don't have to chew every single thing like the way we do in school. As you're working, as time is going on, you realize that these things are just at your fingertips, and then you know them. You know what every single thing is supposed to mean. I mean, even before coming to the class, I didn't type what hierarchy is for my head. I mean, I know what it means. I don't have to necessarily type the English for my head. So don't chew baba. Or don't commit to memory. All right, I think you guys understood. Who can tell me what? Let me see. What confirmation basically means? You really teach well. Thanks. Thank you very much. Means a lot. Who can tell me what confirmation means? That's going to type a lot, but yeah, I think they get it. All right, Emanuela and Emeka, can we get the PDF or something? Yeah, I'll share it with Emanuela tonight. I should give it to you guys before Monday. So on Monday we'll touch on, I'm sure we'll touch on what's it called, deliverables and maybe methodologies. And then on our last class we'll touch on research, and then I'll be done. Final option bridge to prevent. Well, Chigozie, thank you. Confirmation has to do with having the users confirm what? I have to read everything. Confirm before making crucial. Okay, good. It's just like asking the user for confirmation. Perfect. The confirmation dialogue asks users whether some of their definitions are even better than my own. Well done. You guys are paying attention. You guys are really paying attention. Okay, I think confirmation asks users whether he. Are you sure you want us to chop your money? Who is that? Okay. Just an example. Okay. All right, I guess that'll be it. I'll see you guys. If I'm able to finish the topics left before Thursday, probably I'll touch on some of the things that came up within the question, like the responsive and then the auto layouts and just components and stuff. But yeah, I'll see you guys on Monday. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a nice evening. Thank you, Manola. Thank you, Amaka.
Okay, thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Rega. And thank you everyone for joining in. So guys, we'll share the material with you all before your next class on Monday, and Rega will be taking you next week also. So thank you guys so much. Thank you guys.
All right, so before you go, you enjoyed your class online. Make sure to tweet at us on LinkedIn. Have a nice day. If you're looking to tag him, once you visit our LinkedIn page, he's there. He's tagged on this particular topic for today, so you can tag us from there and tag him as well. Good night.
Amaka, sorry, we didn't hear you. Your this thing was breaking, so you can come again.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I said for everyone, if you enjoyed today's class and you would you should comment. What am I saying? Sorry. If you enjoyed today's class, please tweet and make a post on Tweeting or LinkedIn. Make sure to tag us in the post. If you're looking to connect with Rega, if you go to our LinkedIn page, he's already connected there. There's a particular post that has this class, so you can pick his name from there and connect to him as well as make your posts and retweet on Twitter.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, I think Ms. Amaka, maybe we can also share it on their chats on Discord, so they'll just get directly like his profile on LinkedIn. Okay.
Okay. All right. We'll do that.
Okay. Thank you guys so much. Good night, everyone. Bye, guys.